Alrighty, welcome back to Average Joe Mechanic here. We have a 2000 Chevy S10, the LS model, and what we're doing today is we're going to replace the ABS sensor on the passenger side. A real quick note is, working from the passenger side, if you're right-handed, getting that caliper off, you're going to have to use your left hand a lot more than your right hand, so that may be a little awkward in the beginning, but once you get that caliper off, everything else should work pretty smooth, okay? Step by step, we're gonna assume the wheel's already off and not waste your time with that one. And step number one is going to be removing the caliper, getting the caliper disconnected and moved to the side. All right, first thing you're gonna have to do is remove these two elongated pins here. Those two elongated pins are 3/8 Allen key pins. You can use the Allen key I have here, or you can use an Allen socket to get those off. One other side note is I got some PB Blaster here. Those pins were seized in pretty good, so I just put some PB Blaster on them, let them sit for about 3 minutes, and they came right out after they soaked in that PB Blaster. All right. Once those pins are out of the way, I use my ball peen hammer, give it a couple taps on my caliper here, and it came right off. I moved to the side, and once you get that caliper off and move to the side, I got right here, got some wire tying it off so it doesn't fall back down and stress out my brake lines right there. So once again, get the caliper off, get it to the side, and tie it off so it doesn't fall back down and stress out your brake lines. All right, the caliper is off, the pin's been removed. We're gonna go ahead and talk about the rotor. To get this rotor off, number one, this dust cap right here, you're gonna remove that dust cap. To get that dust cap off, I use my screwdriver right here, my yellow handle screwdriver, and my ball peen hammer. I put my screwdriver behind that dust cap and gave it a couple taps. It came right out, okay? Once that dust cap comes off, you're going to see this nut right here and this carter pin, okay? The carter pin is holding the nut actually on the axle here, okay? So the first thing you gotta do here is remove that carter pin. With my pliers I got right here, my needle nose pliers, straighten out that carter pin and pull it out of the way. And then to get that nut off, I use my adjustable wrench right here and a light turn, and it came right on off. All right, side note, on this axle right here where it came off, if you look right here, see that hole right there on the tip of this axle here? That hole is where the carter pin goes back in when you put the nut back on. All right, when you put the nut back on here, be mindful that that nut is not going to tighten up all the way. It's only going to tighten up so much, and then the carter pin is going to hold the nut in place, okay? Also look right here on this side right here, this little groove right here. Inside of this rotor, there is a washer, and you can see it right there. See that washer on the bottom down here? There's a little lip right there, okay? On this axle right here, if you see right here, that lip fits right back inside of this groove here. See right there, that groove on this side right here where it's not so smooth? That washer is going to slide right back in that groove, okay? So when you remove this, the rotor, be mindful that that washer is going to fall out, and also the ball bearings inside is going to fall out. Just put it back in and let it sit like this until you get ready to put it back on the vehicle, and that's not a problem at all. Just be mindful that that washer and that lip must fit back inside of this groove right here, okay? And that's all it is to that. All right, the brake caliper is out of the way and it's been removed. The rotor has now been removed. Let's go ahead and get this backing plate off. All right, this backing plate has 3 screws, one here, and one here. The screw right here and the screw right here, right on this side, those two right there together, they are 11 millimeter. You're gonna need an 11 millimeter socket to get those off. This one screw right here by itself is right here. It is a 13 millimeter. So once again, a 13 millimeter. 11 millimeter here, 11 millimeter here, and 13 millimeter here. All right, and they should come right off. Now, once you get those screws out of the way, that's it as far as removing any screws. All right, one other side note here is I cut the wire here, and the reason I cut this wire is because on the end of this wire that was on the vehicle, on this control arm here, there is a nut on this side right here. That nut right there. That nut was holding the wire in place with a keeper. Now, I could not remove that keeper because this nut is going to spin, 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 and plus there's no space for me to get my hand in there and put a socket and a wrench on this to hold it to where I can get this nut off. So I did not want to remove this entire control arm. And I also noted on the new one right here, there is no place for that that keeper assembly. So this new wire here does have no place for that nut to even hold this in place. So that lets me know that I didn't need this nut at all. So what I did was I went ahead and cut that wire off and left the pigtails underneath the control arm here. And what's going to happen is when I put this new one back in, I'm going to run the wire back through and under the control arm and connect it right back. That's the connector right there. You can see it, the connector. I'm going to run it back in and tape the new wire to those old pigtails behind there to keep it held in place behind there. And then once I get it inside of here, I'm going to also tie it off with some zip ties, okay? And that's all in a nutshell. That's it. Nothing else to this at all. One other quick note here while we're looking at it. If you look right here, this old sensor here, right in here, is all sheared out. That's all cut out. And the sensor that was in here, it's a little metal piece that senses right in here. And if you look at the new one, you see right here, that sensor is there. And that's what's reading the rotation of the wheels. And this one does not have it, and obviously it doesn't have it, so it's going to give me that bad, the ABS code, and it's going to give me the brake code because it's not sensing anything, okay? Also, one other side note is, if you look at this, I'm getting some light here, you can see there's some metal shavings here. There's some, those metal shavings in there, and it's got some metal on this side. This is magnetized. Sometimes the old sensors just need to be cleaned off. That's why I have my brushes here, and I use my brushes and I just go ahead and knock those metal shavings off, and sometimes clean up around the sensor, and that'll get it back to where it will read again. But in this case, this one, once again, it's already sheared off and there's nothing to read there. It can't read anything, so that's why we're replacing this one today, okay? And once again, obviously on this one, you can see that there's your speed sensor right there. That's in good contact there. All right, and that is all in a nutshell. Also, one side note is, when you have a sensor that's good to go, just say if this one was just dirty, I also have some electro cleaner here. Just spray a little bit of this on there if it's still good, and then take your brushes and knock that debris off and stuff, and you'll be good to go, and just reconnect it. One other side note though, once you get this axle, get the rotor off the axle here, do not go in here and start brushing stuff down, because you're going to get that dirt on this this axle here, and you're going to contaminate your grease. So what's going to happen is you hit all this dust and stuff to get on here. You cannot reseat this rotor on a dirty axle here. You're going to have to take all this grease off the axle again and then re-grease it. I do have my grease gun here, and right down here, my grease gun. And what I'm going to do is, once I get this ready to go back together here, I'm going to clean this up a little more than what it is, and I'm going to add some new grease on here as well, just to be safe. That's just what I do, but you don't have to. It's actually good to go right now. I can put it back together and it'll be fine. But I'm going to go ahead and do some more cleanup work on this, and then put the some more grease on, and then put my my rotor back on, and then reassemble it step by step. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell. It's real simple, a real easy process. I do have my goggles over here, so once again, if you have you're going to be under the vehicle a couple of times here, you might want to put your goggles on so this dirt and debris don't get in your face, get in your eyes. I had to actually crawl underneath here on this side, the front side, to disconnect that wire. It was in a bad position. So anyway, in a nutshell, remove your brake caliper, remove your rotor, step by step, dust cap, carter pin in your nut. And once that's out of the way, this backing plate here is really simple. 11mm screw, 11mm screw, 13mm screw, and you're good to go. Once that comes off, this backing plate should pry right out of the way. The only issue I would say once again is right back in here, that nut right there is going to hold on your wire, and that cannot pull off. There's no way you can pull that out. It doesn't slide through. It actually has a keeper on the screw. So you're going to have to either cut the wire or get that nut completely off to get that wire out. And I chose not to take that nut out, so I went ahead and cut the wire, which I don't need anymore anyway. And that nut, once again, is just to hold the screw on, so I don't need that screw for anything, that nut for anything else. And I'm just going to feed it back through here and re-tape it off on the inside. And that's all there is to it. And yeah, that's all there is to it. So leave your comments, like, share, subscribe. Thank you.